Hi everybody, how's it going? Brian here, Class A Plus English, and tonight I'm doing the second video on the lesson, the first conditional lesson about driverless buses in Seoul in South Korea. They've been doing some experiments there, and it's a huge city. Um, Basically, I think it was night buses, so I guess when the traffic is quieter, and they've been using it's the early stages, it's very early days, I think, of this, but they've been doing some experiments with with driverless buses. Now they had a driver with them, so if you haven't seen it, go back to the first video, okay, and it's on the playlist, and you can check it there. There's a news report from the BBC which we watched, and in the report they interviewed a few people. Some people were very positive about it, whereas some other people were a bit more skeptical, maybe skeptical about the idea. What we're going to do today is we're going to look at some more of the grammar aspects of this lesson using first conditional, but also we're going to use some nice language as well. We're going to look at some very nice language, other ways of expressing condition, which I hope you'll find useful. Should we jump into it? Okay, let's go. Here we are. Right, so we're going right into grammar time. So this is produced by ESL Brains. Big shout out to them. Anybody teaching online, it's a really good platform for using for online lessons. Okay, here we go. So you might want to pause the video now. Take a look. We need to match the sentences. On the left, we have A, B, C, D, E, and F. And then on the right, we have the connecting sentence. People will feel a lot safer on driverless buses unless governments encourage people to use driverless buses. We shouldn't have driverless buses on our streets. If there are more driverless buses in busy city centres, as soon as we allow driverless buses on our streets, and finally, many people will avoid public transport. So maybe pause the video, have a look. We're going to connect these A, B, C, D, E, and F to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll give you a minute, have a look at it, and then we'll get back to it, okay? All right, let's look at the first one. I didn't read these ones. More autonomous vehicles will appear. They will prefer buses with drivers. The number of road accidents could increase. As long as there are also human drivers on board, be on board the bus. If you don't feel comfortable, notice pronunciation there, not comfortable, comfortable on driverless buses, and until the roads are in good condition. My students are sick of me repeating this word for them, All right, let's look at the first one. People will feel a lot safer on driverless buses, and we're going to connect that to number 4. As long as there are also human drivers on board. So we saw that in the video. Although the bus was autonomous, it was driving, there was a driver there to take control in case anything happened. Let's look at this sentence. People will feel a lot safer as long as there are also human drivers on board. We could replace as long as here with if. People will feel a lot safer if there are also human drivers on board. So this is another way to express condition. The parents might say to their child, you can play video games as long as you finish your homework. If you finish your homework, you can play video games. It's just another way of expressing it, okay? But really, really nice. And very typical for native speakers to use this language. All right, B. Unless governments encourage people to use driverless buses. Now we need to match this one as well. Unless they encourage people, what do you think? They will prefer buses with drivers. Right. So there has to be some kind of motivation. It needs some kind of government encourage that it's okay. You know? Kind of true, I suppose, really, you know? I think it's still a bit early. The technology isn't so developed that it isn't such a normal technology yet that we're very, very comfortable with it. So maybe the government will need to promote this idea, you know, encourage it. Let's look at C. We shouldn't have driverless buses on our streets. We should not until the roads are in good condition. Definitely in some places, I think you need to have the roads in really good condition. Um, I don't really know anything about like driverless cars, you know, like could a bump in the road or roadworks kind of disorientate them? Okay, D. If there are more driverless buses in busy city centres, the number of road accidents could increase. Right, a lot of traffic in busy city centres. Yeah, definitely, there could be problems. Okay, and E. As soon as we allow driverless buses on our streets, what do you think? It's going to be more autonomous vehicles will appear. So maybe people will become confident. Maybe if we start with driverless buses, autonomous buses, then people will see that it functions, that it works, and then maybe we'll be happier with taxis, cars, you know, all this kind of stuff, yeah? Many people will avoid public transport if they don't feel comfortable on driverless buses. I guess this might be true, you know, because you don't want to be terrified on the way to work every morning, you know, you don't want to be having an anxiety attack every day. It would be quite stressful. But then maybe that will encourage people to cycle or use e-scooters or something like that, right? Okay, let's look at the next task. Look at the sentence below and complete the formation of the first conditional. Many people will avoid public transport if they don't feel comfortable on driverless buses. So with the first conditional, we use if plus the present simple, and we use the subject with will plus infinitive. If it's sunny, I will go to the beach. I will go to the park. Yeah. Of course, remember, we can always like transpose it. You know, so we can say if they don't feel comfortable on driverless buses, many people will avoid public transport, and that's perfectly. You know, we can use it both ways. I'll go to the beach if it's sunny. If it's sunny, I'll go to the beach. Okay, let's look at this. Do the task below. Find any words or phrases that can be used instead of if. So if not is the first one. So again, maybe pause the video, read the sentences, and try to work out the answers, okay? All right, here we go. So the first one is if not, and that is going to be unless. Unless governments encourage people to use driverless buses, they will prefer buses with drivers. If governments don't encourage, you could say, yeah, if governments don't encourage people to use driverless buses. So let's look at unless. Um, you can't go to the concert unless you have a ticket. Um, my friend John, he's always listening to music on his headphones, you know. He won't hear you unless you shout. And there's a condition there. The condition is that you have to shout for him to hear you. Yeah. Likewise, in the first sentence, the condition is that you must have a ticket if you want to go to the concert. Okay, the next one is immediately after, and it is as soon as. I'll call you as soon as I arrive. Yeah, as soon as I get to the airport, I'll call you. As soon as we allow driverless buses on our streets, more autonomous vehicles will appear. I think that makes sense if people become more comfortable with the idea of driverless vehicles. Okay, next one is only if, and that is as long as, again, the condition, as long as you say to the child, you can have dessert as long as you eat your vegetables. You can play video games as long as you finish your homework. Yeah? Okay. Number one, people will feel a lot safer on driverless buses as long as there are also human drivers on board, which is what they were doing in Korea. There was a driver with the computer, the robot, whatever it's called. And then the last one is up to that time, and we're talking about until. We shouldn't have driverless buses on our streets until the roads are in a good condition, up to that point in time. Okay. Now, look at sentences 1 to 6 and find 2 more words that can be used instead of will, may, might. So again, pause the screen, have a look. What can we replace them with? Okay, here we go. So the first one is could. If there are more driverless buses in busy city centres, the number of road accidents will increase. It could increase for possibility. And the second one is should. We shouldn't have driverless buses on our streets until the roads are in good condition. Yeah? All right. I think that's it, everyone. Okay. All right. So that's it. A quick, short video today to explain some of the grammatical structures. And some of them are quite nice. Expressing condition. Unless, as long as. Another one there would be provided that, you can go to the concert as long as you have a ticket. You can go to the concert provided that you have a ticket, So there's some nice ways. And I think personally, for me, it's more natural to use those expressions, those words, rather than if you have a ticket, you can go to the concert. You know what I mean? I think native speakers will use provided, as long as, unless a lot more. I'm going to leave you there. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe. Go and check out the other videos. There's phrasal verbs, take, get, and over. And I've been uploading some of Fallout 4, where I'm playing video games. And there's also on the channel, there's plenty of video games, yeah? Lots of story-driven games. So it's more Sherlock Holmes than Fallout, than Fortnite or Call of Duty. I'm playing games with stories that I can talk about the vocabulary. So I hope you're well, and I'll be back soon with another one. So have a good evening. Take care. Bye-bye.